Izzy Dakota Jones with the Art of Doing podcast for 2023, featuring Jay from Los Angeles, California. Check it out. This is number 9. This is Izzy Dakota Jones with the Art of Doing podcast. Yeah.
Entertainment.
Hey, Jay, it's Joe here. How you doing?
What's going on, Joe?
Not much, man. Gonna do this little podcast with you, see what you've been up to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a big new stuff we're developing here.
Yeah. So how's things going?
It's going well. I just finished 4 days down at the NAMM show.
Oh, yes.
And then went out to Vegas right after that to the NAB show. It's the National Association of Broadcasters show. It's the
that must be
100th anniversary of that show.
Wow, that'll be cool.
Yeah. So, lots to bring you up to date on that. Now, when do you start taping here?
I'm taping right now. I'm going to start this second right now. Here we go. All right. So I'm talking to Jay. Jay, how you doing down there?
Doing great, Joe. You're talking to the entertainment capital of the world. We're literally right here in between North Hollywood, Studio City, and Burbank, right down the street from the headquarters of Disney, Universal, Warner Brothers, NBC, ABC, all the biggest entertainment companies in the world are based right up the street. So, truth be told,
Yeah.
I know I hear some people claim that Las Vegas is the entertainment capital. Well, it's actually the casino capital of America.
Yeah.
That's what Vegas is. And not to take anything against them, but the TV and movie companies and record labels.
Oh, yeah. Everything's in L.A.
Yeah, they're not in Vegas.
No.
New York's always had old money and all that over there, very corporate, very old school. But it's the land of plenty. I call it the Wild Wild West.
Yeah.
I'm celebrating my 43rd year here. I moved down from your neck of the woods in 1980.
That's right.
From Bellingham. So
Yes.
I took that 5 freeway from British Columbia down to Southern California.
Well, you can't beat that.
You know all so well.
Yeah, I'd like a call out to Bellingham. I love Bellingham, too. What a nice little town. What a great university.
Yeah, it really is. I'm hoping to come back in the summer.
Oh, good.
I'll let you know well in advance. My plan is they're going to fly me up to speak at a conference up in Seattle. I'm going to make sure I have an extra day off. I'm going to drive up through Bellingham, look at my campus real quick, and then come spend a few hours in Vancouver. And hopefully you can help me a tour guide or something.
Yeah, let's hook up. Let's hook up. Yeah, let's hook up for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I spent many a day seeing some of the greatest concerts of my life there at the Pacific Coliseum.
Yeah.
And Commodore Ballroom and, that whole downtown
core, yeah.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Like all sorts of theaters and,
yeah. It's slowly, yeah, it's slowly coming back too here. Like the entertainment, they're trying to bring the live entertainment back. It's been a slow process, but they're starting to try to bring it back and bring more festivals and stuff because they're starting to realize that people are saying, hey, this place is getting pretty boring, right? Something's got to happen.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to my new venture, and proudly, you're one of the first to hear about it. We won't be rolling it out till the next few months, but what it is I realize, I'm celebrating my 50th year in the industry, and that doesn't count years as a musician before that. I saw the Beatles and Ed Sullivan when I was 5. My family moved to England, so my first 3 years of school, I'm deep in the British invasion. I mean, I'm literally in Cambridge, the home of Pink Floyd, and right up the street from London, where it was all going down. Of course, Liverpool was up the way, and so what I realized is I'm still a promotion marketing guy. Indie Power is the company,
yes,
and we always will do an indie summit or some types of events for helping artists grow. But what I realized is even since my days back in Bellingham, when I got there, they had a college radio station, and I said, I'd like to do a show. They gave me a slot. But rather than just go in and spin records, what I decided to do was to create this show which basically takes people behind the scenes of the music. I called it Insights.
Okay.
And I was inspired by a legendary DJ out of L.A. He's still on Sirius XM, but back in the day he was on KMET and KLOS. His name is Jim Ladd, and he had a show that was syndicated through KISW out of Seattle, which I would pick up in Bellingham. I think it was every Monday night. And it was called Interview, like INNER.
Oh, okay.
Like taking you an inside view into the artist. So I said, hey, that's what I'm going to do. So with no budget, no connections, no staff, no nothing, I just started working with the big promoters in Vancouver, Perry Scope and all the great promoters.
Yeah, Norm
and
Perry, yeah.
Yeah, I started working with John Bauer and, everybody down in Seattle.
Yeah.
And I started, of course, we did concerts in Bellingham. A lot of the bands would come through and we'd do shows with them. So I started interviewing a who's who. And this was 76 through 80. So it was that beautiful time. Groups like Heart and the Police and, gosh, you name it. They were all developing, AC/DC, and they were all rolling out, So
it was
an amazing time. I moved to LA in the middle of 1980, and of course haven't looked back since, and I love to visit the Northwest. It's a special place in my heart. But what I realized is I've done over 5,000 interviews over the years that I'm really good at, and I have this kind of encyclopedic mind for knowledge, about bands and albums and producers and tours, and and what I realized is I am going to essentially be a music historian, a musicologist, whatever you want to call it, rather than just do a show, which I always have. Indie Power TV has over 2,000 interviews on it.
By the way, real quickly here, I was at work the other night doing a night shift at my other gig, and I had a break and I had the phone on, and you know what? I watched you do one of your Indie Power interviews with Edgar Winters. That was brilliant.
Oh yeah. Well, what's amazing is what we're doing is we're creating a channel. The channel is called Rock Forever.
Okay.
And it will be ultimately you'll get it at like rockforever.tv or rockforeverworld.com. That's our trademark, Rock Forever World. And it's a world because not only is it a network, we want to be like the Netflix for music series and music documentaries.
Oh, very cool.
Like the real deal, not just, it's not another place to just hear music. There's plenty of those.
Yes.
But it's a place to really, for documentary filmmakers, and I've created all these really cool shows. So people our tagline is get more of what you crave.
Yeah.
So you grew up in the 70s or the 80s, and you'll have all these bands. I don't care if it's classic rock or classic soul or classic pop, whatever it is. You can go down the rabbit hole, and there'll be shows like Making That Hit, where I interview people like Randy Bachman talking about writing those Guess Who hits and the hits, or Paul Dean about writing those Loverboy hits, and what's the story behind Working for the Weekend and all that.
Yeah.
And I've got hundreds and hundreds of the greatest people on a show like that. There's another show called Classic Albums Celebrated, where it's one thing if you're lucky enough to have a hit, but a lot of those greats had multiple hits, and they had one of those multi-platinum albums.
Yeah.
Call it Capturing Lightning in a Bottle. How'd you do it? What was the feeling like? Why do you think that was a special moment, for you guys in your career? And there's a ton of them. Best tour stories, and we're even talking to the people that create some of the most iconic album covers in history.
Right.
So whatever it is you're into, music videos, or we even reminisce about the old school music magazines we used to have that are no longer here, or
like Cream and
or the
all
music TV shows. I don't know if you got them in Canada, but we had shows back in the 70s like Don Kirshner's Rock.
Oh yeah. We used to
Midnight
get
Special.
Yeah. Every Friday night, we'd get that on Friday and Saturday nights. Great to watch, right? Oh yeah.
You come back from a party and turn on the TV at 1 a.m. and bam, there was all this amazing music.
Yes.
The California Jam, and it was Deep Purple and Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and Black Sabbath and the Eagles and Black Oak, Arkansas, and all that.
Yeah, I even remember. I remember back at. I don't know if you would remember this, but I can't remember. Mama Cass Elliot had a show too out of L.A. too.
Yeah, there was a bunch of shows back there in the 60s. The Smothers Brothers and Son and Cher show.
Yeah. And I remember Mama Cass Elliot had this one show, and I caught it in the afternoons up here. And, Led Zeppelin's the first time, like the first album out, and you'd see them, doing Good Times, Bad Times, and Paul Revere and the Raiders, right? You're just going like, wow, what, like, just incredible. Because I guess she could hook up with all those artists because she's one of them herself.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, if you got a platform and people are looking to promote their new record, bam, it's all, a win-win situation. So we're creating this network. And it's going to be, I call it almost like a private club for serious music lovers.
Great.
Because once you're in there, we have a couple daily shows. Will be a live morning show every morning with all the breaking news, all the new concert announcements, all the new album announcements.
Very cool.
Important news. Of course, we celebrate people that were born that day or history that happened that day or different stuff. And then there'll be an evening show every day live, and that will be an expanded show.
Wow.
So in the morning, we give you the breaking news. We give you the full news stories, celebrity interview every evening, more cool features. So you have all this access to more of what you love, whatever kind of music, whatever bands. And then we're doing these docu-series. It started out, the first one is this one on Van Halen. I'm up to over 300 hours of the most incredible interviews. All the rock stars talking about their touring and great relationships with Edward Van Halen and the band, and different types of stories from classmates, childhood friends, people that were important, to their coming up. And
wow.
We also go and document historical locations, where they went to school, where they live, where they played their backyard parties, where Ed bought his first guitar, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're doing about 40 of those to begin with, and it includes ones on Led Zeppelin, AC/DC,
cool.
You name it, Heart. There'll be everything from Guns N' Roses to Motley Crue, but really across the board. Some of the greatest artists you can ever imagine, and so the formula is exclusive interviews you've never seen before. Great historical locations where you really get a sense of like, wow, this is how Led Zeppelin came up, or this is where AC/DC came up,
Yeah.
All these great groups. And then, more importantly, kind of a timeline, kind of a insight into the development, of that band. So in a lot of cases, the music is finite. Even Guns N' Roses, it still fills stadiums right now, off the strength of 2 albums. Their debut album, Appetite for Destruction, and the double album, Use Your Illusions. Yeah, there was another album like 20-some years after that. We don't count that one. That wasn't with Slash or Duff or any of that. But after those 2 first albums, they're still filling stadiums.
Oh, I know.
So it's finite, but the stories go on forever.
That's like
you can really learn from
that's like you
that came up in school with them, jam with them in the early days.
That's like you and I talking about them for a sec, about how well their merchandise does. Like their merch is just unreal. Talk about that band, right?
Oh yeah. It's like I say, you go to these shows. I don't care if it's the Stones or GR or AC/DC, and you see 3 or 4 generations. You see the people our age that were into them in real time when they came out in the 70s, and then you see the kids or the offspring from that.
Yes.
Saying, "Wow, I grew up and my uncle or my dad or my mom turned me on to this band," and then you have like grandchildren. you see teenagers like wearing an AC/DC or Zeppelin shirt. You're like, they weren't even born, when the band broke up.
I know. Yeah, unreal, isn't it? I know. And
so there's a real love. We call it, the salute is to classic artists, classic albums, classic eras,
Yeah.
Of course, the 70s and 80s are the greatest decades, but it skews down to the 60s, and then skews up to the 90s. We're not discounting music after that. Matter of fact, we have a show called Classic, New Sounds, meaning it's new music, but the bands and the artists like you guys are reminiscent of those great 70s and 80s bands.
Yes.
So, I always say that, to me, the 70s were like the blueprint. Everything that's been great since then has a little bit of that 70s vibe in there.
Yes, you're right, because like I've noticed, like when you talk about Bellingham, there's that radio station I listen to in Bellingham, right? The classic rock one, and They also play some brand new acts that have that flavor, like I think one band's out of L.A. called Mudhoney, right? And
yeah, and there's like Rival Sons and the Struts, and
yeah,
of course Dirty Honey. Yeah, there's some
Dirty
great
Honey.
bands.
Yeah, that's the band, Dirty Honey.
And right when you hear them, you're like, wow, that reminds me of Aerosmith, or that reminds me of the Stones. Or,
yeah,
this
yeah.
guy's got that swagger like Rod Stewart and the Faces or something.
Yes,
you know?
yes, and I'm kind of going like, wow, the influence is just carrying on right through, right up to these generations. Like you said, these people the young kids listening to, Mudhoney, they don't know nothing about, know that much about Led Zeppelin, so they're going to probably clue in at some point and go, oh, who's these guys' influences? And then it'd be great to go to you, and it's like a library, right?
Well, yeah, and that's a springboard,
Yeah.
It's tougher for the new music to stand out because we don't have the MTVs or all the record stores we used to with the music magazines.
No, we don't have that.
All that.
Yeah.
Freeform FM radio like we used to.
Yeah.
So it's, we're really looking to break new music, but also give the people more what they want. So it's a 24/7 network. And plus there's a big merchandising store that's connected to it, and even a high-end memorabilia showcase.
Wow.
I own a lot of memorabilia, and we're going to tap into some great people. So it's almost like a museum of some of the greatest music memorabilia ever. But the merchandising store, man, you can get low-price shirts and hoodies and caps and whatever, based on the music that you love. So it's really, like I say, I call it a private club for serious music lovers.
That's great.
Commercial-free, just everything you want. And everything's on demand, so it's not like, oh, you got to tune in Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time. No, you watch it whenever the F you want. It's really, you're in control. So it's been a labor of love, and like I say, it's quite an undertaking.
I bet.
And
that's a huge undertaking.
And, raise a lot of money and build this out, but I figure it's my life's work. Besides promotional marketing, these events we do, plus we can create curated cruises and little festivals and everything along the music that everybody loves. But it's something I can do even in my old age. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like I got to go out and pound the pavement, create something new every year. It's really nostalgia is bigger than ever. These classic bands, the classic albums, are now outselling new music for the first time in history.
Oh yeah.
There was always the new music, the new pop stars on it. Well, the catalog music, these classic artists, are the biggest sellers in the music industry. So it's really, a lot of things point to us as being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Most definitely. I can see that too. Like I says, I watched the interview with Edgar Winters, and I'm big Edgar Winter and Johnny Winters fan.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean, you had Ronnie Montrose in the band, you had Rick Derringer in the band, you had Dan Hartman in the band, you had Chuck Ruff on drums.
Yeah,
I mean,
I seen that band live. It was
family
amazing.
Tree from Edgar Winter that goes into the Sammy Hagar band and Montrose and Van Halen. All of that.
Yeah, no, I ended.
Well, of course, Denny Carmassi, the drummer Montrose, he became the big drummer in Heart in the 80s. He had Mark Andes on bass and Denny Carmassi on drums, Howard Leese on guitar, and the Wilson sisters.
Yeah.
And they had their biggest hits ever in the 80s.
Yeah,
MTV, So.
No. I remember that because I also opened up for Rick Derringer and Edgar Winters on a couple festivals, and I met Edgar and Rick, and Edgar is just so talented. It just blows my mind how talented.
Oh, yeah, he's a super nice guy, and his album is tribute to his brother Johnny.
Yeah.
Won the Grammy this year, Best Blues Album. So, he's just really, he's in a good space. He tours with Ringo Starr on that all-star band. So,
yes.
He can play Frankenstein and Free Ride in the middle of the show, and Steve Lukather can play a couple big Toto hits, and all the guys in that band. Of course, Ringo breaks out some Beatles songs. I mean, it's really it's an amazing tour they do.
It's amazing to see Ringo at his age, like how energetic he is. Like the last time I saw the All Star Band, I couldn't believe, he's playing drums and he's out there singing, he's dancing. He's I was just like, this guy's amazing. The energy that guy has for his age, and he's great. And then with all those, like you said, all those artists, like, getting to do their own tunes on top of it. What a show. It's an incredible show.
Yeah, it really is. But so many of those bands, Elton John and Skynyrd and AC/DC and whoever, they're all either on their final farewell tours or they may never tour again, or, it's getting to the end of the road for so many of those artists. So to really celebrate that music and everything, these docu-series and these special series that we're doing. And
they're going to be really good.
They're really going to enjoy it, and, being a music documentary lover, like they had that big documentary Get Back on the Beatles, on Disney Plus. I mean, I'll go on like Netflix or Amazon Prime or something, and they have like crumbs. They got like nothing for us.
I know.
So this channel will be 1,000% music programming.
Yeah, that's great. That's great because, like I said, we even got those channels up here on the TV, like Loud and that, and they're great. But the problem is, I'm like you. I like documentaries, and they don't have a lot of documentaries. And then they have live concerts, but there's not a lot. There's not a lot of pickings. Like you'll get the same thing twice in 3 months, right? And so it's like.
Yeah, once you watch the concert once, it's rare you're going to watch it again, and maybe you like a little of concert, but you like to hear from the band,
Yeah.
I just recently interviewed all the living members of Humble Pie.
Oh, wow.
Jerry Shirley, the original drummer.
You did,
formed the band.
Wow.
He was 15 with Peter Frampton, and
wow.
Steve Marriott, came from the Small Faces.
I love Steve Marriott. I love Steve Marriott, yeah.
Reactionary group in England, and he came over and wanted to join their band, and Clem Clemson, the guitarist who took over from when Frampton went solo and Frampton comes alive and all that. Of course, we lost Steve Marriott, a couple decades back. But a band like that, they were so vital to the 70s. They influenced so many incredible groups, that they need to be celebrated.
And a lot of kids don't know who they are. Like, Humble Pie is one of those bands that were great in the 70s. And like you said, Steve Marriott, and I think he's probably one of the best vocalists I've ever heard. And he has that soulful, rich voice, raunchy, whiskey sound. And and there's bands like we said, Mudhoney's like sort of sounding like that, and you go like, holy smoke! Like, I guess these kids must know about these guys because that's exactly how they sounded, right?
Yeah, and you got somebody like Paul Rogers who lives right there in British Columbia.
Yeah, he does, yeah.
We love Paul. Of course, from Bad Company to Free, he had that soulful voice, and Steve Marriott and Steve Winwood had that soulful voice. And it was so amazing growing up. I loved all those British invasion groups, and having, moved to England in my first 3 years of school.
Yeah,
I'm deep in it. And then, funny enough, years later, I'm interviewing all these guys, and all their heroes were from North America.
Yeah.
They're like, man, Muddy Waters and Little Richard and Chuck Berry and,
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it?
And we're like, whoa, we thought you guys invented this. And Zeppelin will be the first one to tell you, no, all our heroes were these American soul and blues artists.
Exactly, yeah. Like the beat.
I would say, the music is finite. Zeppelin only had so many albums. So what you need to do is go listen to who they listen to.
Exactly.
Who inspired them to make those incredible albums.
Yes. Yeah, there used to be, I don't know if you remember, there was a club here in Vancouver called the Egress Nightclub. It was just about the size of a postage stamp. And they would have, and I was underage, so I was like, probably about 18 years old. But I got in. And the staff liked me because I was quiet, and I came in with my friends, older friends, and I would go in and we could watch like Muddy Waters, like 10 feet from the stage, 5 feet from the stage, James Cotton, Albert Collins, Sonny Terry, Brownie McGee, Jay, like all these guys. That's how I started listening to the blues, because you're right. I used to listen to Led Zeppelin and the Cream and the Doors, and Humble Pie. And then I thought to myself, where did they get their influences from? So I started buying albums, old blues albums, and next thing you know, I started going to those kinds of shows, and I was like blown away by these great American artists like Muddy Waters and
they probably had crummy record deals and they were abused, but they were such an influence. It's like the least we can do is show them love while they're still, on this planet, and put the spotlight on them. And all these British artists, man, they just open up and glow when I bring it up. They're like, oh man, we couldn't wait to get to America. We're in New York and came to Chicago and LA. We just, we're a buzz that, all of our heroes were from there, and some of them still performed. And, I'm so jealous. I hear so many stories I've interviewed of people that grew up in New York in the late 60s, early 70s. Bill Graham, the big promoter from San Francisco,
yes.
He had Fillmore East and Fillmore West.
Yes.
And they said they'd go to Fillmore East and see, like, Led Zeppelin's first tour for like $1.50.
Yeah.
Or they'd see Cream for $2.
Yeah.
Also on a bill with, John Lee Hooker and the Small Faces or something. I mean, Bill Graham was the first guy to put a hybrid of artists. He's like, no, I'm not going to give you 3 bands that sound alike. You're going to come in and see Cream. You're going to leave loving some jazz, some funk, some some gospel, some doo-wop. He educated people.
Yes.
Because all the artists you're going to see, they got a kick out of that. They're like, man, I don't want to hear 3 other bands that sound like us.
No, you're right, because funny you say that. My bass player Harvey, who you met, Harvey lived in New York during that time too.
Oh wow!
And Harvey did go to the to Bill. He went to Fillmore East quite a few times, and he told me the shows he saw. Like he'd go there and he'd see Mountain, with Humble Pie, and then and then the Staple family, right? Like he said. He said it was just, and cheap too, like he said, like $5-6, right?
Yeah, free parking, $1 beer, and like $2 to get in all night with like 5 bands.
Holy smoke, Jay! Like, what the hell happened?
I have to remain calm when I'm interviewing these people. I spoke to JJ French, the guitarist of Twisted Sister, and he's running down all these shows, and I'm just like, oh. Man, if I could have been a fly on the wall,
Yeah,
I could go back in that hot tub time machine or something, man. Dial up 1970, Get out there in Central Park or the Lower East Side.
Man,
it was just like.
Well, yeah, when I was like only like 8 years old, I was going to the P&E there where you said the Coliseum.
Yeah.
My first show was the Cream, and you know what? It was only $7.
Sure. I think when I was going to shows there in the 70s, they were only maybe, $10-12.
Yeah, that's it.
I saw Queen with Thin Lizzy.
Yeah, I remember that show.
I
Yeah.
saw Kiss with Cheap Trick. I saw you name it.
Yeah, the tickets were cheap. I saw Janis Joplin, Big Brother and Holding Company for like $5. It was just like
Alice Cooper, Rod Stewart. I saw them all up there.
Yeah, it's just amazing shows. Prices were great, and
it was general admissions. You get there early, get in line. It was a little crazy.
Yeah,
push it through those turnstiles. But if you're up for a little run, man, you're going to be like a few feet from the stage.
I did that a couple of times. I did that. I don't know if you the
second dangerous,
It was because one time they at the Coliseum there, when we went to see Led Zeppelin when they had Zeppelin 2 out, they had the middle doors in the Coliseum open, so that so people were getting crushed in between the 2 doors, right? It was pretty scary. It was pretty scary, and so they decided that they would open the doors and let everybody in. Well, the band was still sound checking, and the house lights were on, everything, and they decided. Robert Plant looked and saw people coming in. They just said, hell, we're just going to do the show now. And they just started doing the show. People are sitting down. They started playing.
Opening act, huh?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, no opening act.
Those were the good old days. And like I say, I know we can't turn the clock back, but our whole network, Rock Forever, is basically going to help you celebrate what you loved.
That's
and of course,
great.
We're going to have so many people on there, the artists and discussions, big open. It's real interactive, so you can talk about your stories and compare with others. And it's just, it's a real treat. Like I say, we still love to go out and see new music and always have our ear open for something new. But, these days, a lot of people are, stuck at home. They don't go out to the clubs as much, or
Yeah.
it's a little crazy out there.
Well,
So,
I think because we just came out of that pandemic, right? And so it's
Yeah.
I think we're coming out of it, but I don't think we're all feeling totally safe, 100% safe.
well,
You know what I mean?
I think it's changed us. With all
Yeah.
these Zoom calls and all that, people are used to kind of being at home more, and it's like, hey, I can work from home. I
Yeah.
can enjoy more of my entertainment from home. Sure, every once in a while I love to go out and maybe see a movie or go out and see a concert, especially. But that's a rare treat. So
It
on
is.
the norm,
Yes.
I'd love to have a network, man, I could just log into daily. Plus, you can get all that news because, of course, being in the industry for 50 years now, I get all the press releases. I get access to breaking news every morning from Billboard and Variety and
Oh,
Hollywood
great.
Reporter and all these places. So by the time people are getting up, 10 a.m., bam, they get a blast of all the news before they hear it anywhere else. And then they can tune in the afternoon and hear more expanded stories, a celebrity interview, and different features. And like I say, so we're creating, being the ultimate fan, we're creating something that the fans just will revel in. They're just like, wow, you guys are incredible. You're giving me, like I say, the tagline is, you're giving me more of what I crave.
Yeah. That's great, Jay. That's
We'll
great.
keep you up to date on that. If people got a pen handy, I'll give you an email address, and hopefully you can also include it wherever you
Yeah,
hear
let's do it.
podcast. But it's pretty simple. It's just connect, CONNECT,
Yes.
at rockforever.tv.
Rock forever. Rock.
So
TV.
connect at rock, ROCK, forever, FOREVER, .TV.
.tv.
So connect at rockforever.tv, and you can at least get on the mailing list. We can keep you up to date when it's going to launch, what some of the cool details will
I
be.
will.
You know,
Let's do that.
but yeah, when people see it roll out, they're like, "Oh man, I can't believe we never had anything like this before." Because MTV was cool in its day, but you can't even imagine people sitting around watching this video show with all these commercials, hoping a good video comes on. Those days are gone. You go to YouTube and watch any video you want when you want to watch it. Same with Spotify. You can click on any song and hear it. So this is something you don't get with those, and that's all the music programming, the exclusive interviews, the deep dives into these docuseries on your favorite artists. And, we hope to turn people on to not only more what they love, but, like you say, some of these people don't even know who Humble Pie is. Or all of a sudden, I heard of Mountain, but I don't know Mountain. Now they find out the incredible Leslie West and Corky Lang and all the, the greats that came before him and influenced, all the bands we love from the 70s were influenced by those bands from the 60s or the 50s, So everybody's got influences. It's like a never-ending, rabbit hole. I always say, whoever you like, just dive deep in who they loved and then who influenced them.
Yes, and it just and then
rock and roll basically started in the 50s.
Yes.
With Elvis and Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis and Chuck Berry and Everly Brothers and Buddy Holly and all that.
Yeah.
But, the Beatles and the Stones changed the world, man. Once that happened, it's like, whoa, it was really on.
It was really on. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. I think you're right, and it's and I have great appreciation myself too. Like you said, for people like Little Richard and Chuck Berry and Jerry Lee Lewis.
And they're all gone.
Yeah.
Well, Jerry Lee Lewis just passed away.
Oh, that's unreal.
His sister. He was the last of the remaining, those original rock and roll pioneers. Chuck Berry, Little Richard, B.B. King, all those guys. One of the last remaining blues guys, Buddy Guy is doing his farewell tour this summer with Kenny Wayne Shepherd.
Oh, wow.
If you get a chance, and the tour is called something like Farewell something. Go see Buddy Guy from Chicago.
Yeah.
He's one of the last. He speaking of losses, of course, Jeff Beck was a massive loss recently.
Yeah.
But 3-4 years ago, Jeff Beck played at the Hollywood Bowl with Buddy Guy, and Rod Stewart came out and joined him.
Wow.
And that was really a beautiful bow for Jeff Beck to take, and we have a massive docuseries on Jeff coming out.
I saw
interviewed all his bandmates and
and then I saw a couple years before
Yardbirds. They're going all. If you can imagine, a band called the Yardbirds launched the careers of Jeff Beck, Jimmy Page and Led Zeppelin, and Eric Clapton and Cream, all out of one group.
I know. Unreal, eh? Unreal. And then I saw Rod Stewart and I saw Jeff Beck a couple years before that, before you saw the show you said, I saw them at the Hollywood Bowl too. It was really good. And he did 4 of his songs with Rod Stewart,
People Get Ready and all that.
Yeah, he did all that with him, and it was really good. I mean, it was, and then Rod Stewart's band was amazing. Like the people in his band were just unreal. Like just what a
Shapes of Things, all those great songs.
Oh yeah, amazing.
Yeah, no, Jeff. That's what's scary is we lost all those pioneers from the '50s, but Jeff was the first of those guys from the '60s, like Keith Richards and Eric Clapton, and of course Jimmy Page, and we still have Paul McCartney, but we're starting to lose that era now with Jeff, and he was just on tour a couple months before he passed. He wasn't even sick.
No, so I know.
It just lets you know that you never know when somebody's not going to be with us anymore. So let's celebrate them while they're here. Let's not wait for an obituary to say
exactly. Yeah. We don't want that. I mean, even look at people like Black Sabbath, Ozzy. Look at Ozzy; he's getting up there too, right?
He can barely move.
Yeah, he can barely move. I feel so. Last time I saw the tour, it was an incredible show. I mean, I was just blown away.
I actually Black Sabbath that last final tour.
Oh yeah, it was amazing, Jay. It was. Tony Iommi is up there with Jeff Beck and everybody. He's such he's an amazing guitar player. Sometimes I think he's underrated. He's up there with Jimmy Page and all them. When I watched the show, that's the first thing I turned around and said to my bass player. I says, you know what? This guy is like he's in the same thing as Jeff Beck and Jimmy Page and everybody. And Eric Clapton goes, oh yeah, he's up there, man. He's an incredible guitar player, great sound, and he just carries it, and then the geezer on bass, just amazing.
Yeah, they call Tony like the father of heavy metal with those riffs.
Those riffs are just unreal, Jay. And you know what? And Ozzy tried so hard, and he did a good job. You could tell he was struggling at times, but it was amazing to see that he put all his effort into it. You could see he was trying really hard, and you just you could not say nothing bad about it, right? You just said that guy was amazing. Like and he waved at the crowd, and he blew kisses at everybody. He was really caring. You could say, you were just going like, this guy's like a superstar. You could see it. The band was just amazing, and they had Rick Wakeman's.
Yeah, I saw him down here at Riverine Meadows. It was a great night.
Yeah, I bet. And they had Rick Wakeman's kid playing keyboards, right, in the thing too. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing show. Yeah.
Well, we definitely look forward to celebrating all the greats. I just had some great chats with Mike Frazier, who's worked on the last 11 AC/DC albums up there in Vancouver.
Yes.
With Bruce Fairborn and Bob Rock and Little Mountain Sound. I mean, a lot of these stories tend to take me back up to British Columbia. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
the history there.
There is a lot of history here. A lot of people don't know about that too up here too. That's the thing. The funny scene, the Vancouver music scene in the '60s, what really started slowly bubbling, and then it got all like the Blues Fairburns and all them coming up through the ranks because they were all musicians too, and they were playing, right? And then it just sort of started to we had a club. I don't know if you remember the club up here. It used to be called the Cave nightclub. And and the Cave. My mom and my family owned my grandpa owned a bar here in 1932, and it was the first bar ever in Vancouver. And so he, my grandpa was pretty famous. He was a detective and everything, and he owned some bars and stuff. And anyways, his lawyer owned the cave. They owned the cave. So we used to get to go shows and to the cave. But I got a poster. I'll show it to you sometime when I see you. I got a poster downstairs, and it says "Can Heat," and they were playing one night at my mom's club because they had played 2 shows at the cave, and they were supposed to do a 3rd show in Bellingham, but it got canceled. So the lawyer phoned my mom up and says, I got nowhere for them to play, and they want to play and make some money. And so my mom said, well, bring them over to my place. I don't have a lot to set up. He says, they've got everything. They'll set everything up. So they came over and they did a one-night show at my mom's club.
Wow.
Yeah, I got a poster of them, the band playing at my mom's nightclub.
Yeah, this is a band that played at Woodstock,
Yeah. Great band. I saw them live too when I was a kid. Can Heat was great.
Yeah, there was so much great music, and like I say, we're celebrating it all, and of course, it's going to be a real joy. I do interviews every day with the greats, and it's always a pleasure to speak to you and give you this insight. Like I say, people can shoot us an email at that address, connect@rockforever.tv, and just get on the list. Just let us know, man. You liking what you're hearing, and we'll keep you up to date as we get closer and closer to launch in the fall or winter,
Good stuff.
But like I tell people, we're not going to dribble it out. It's not going to be something corny like YouTube. It's going to be the real deal.
Good.
So it's either all or nothing. So,
yeah.
When we open the floodgates, man, get ready. You're going to have a ball just diving into what you love. And like I said, it's very interactive, so you can give us feedback on who you want to hear more about. And, I'm very ambitious, doing these interviews. Some of these artists are like, well, I don't have anything to promote. And I'm like, let's just promote you. Let's celebrate your history, your greatness.
Yeah,
because in a minute, and I'm not trying to be morbid, but we're going to read an obituary on somebody, and we're like, damn, they dragged their feet. I could have done a great interview.
Yeah.
We could have had that for prosperity,
Yes.
You can tune in forever. But just because they thought they had something new they had to promote, they left, and, they were selfish. They didn't give us those stories that people really wanted to revel in.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thanks a lot, Jay. I'm going to hook up on this myself pretty soon here, and then and I'll be talking to you in the next little while.
Well, we look forward to it, Joe. Any way you can get a copy over to Kent to send down to me, I'd love to hear it. And again, encourage everybody, connect@rockforever.tv. Shoot us an email. We'll reply. And, Joe, you're always welcome to be a big part of it. We love everything you do musically, and look forward to spend a little time when I get up to
well, we're Jay, I consider you
even if it's limited time. I gotta do my thing and get back over the border and get down to Seattle. But it's gonna be worth it just to
stop and say hello.
Walk those grounds around the Coliseum and the Commodore and all that.
All right, bud. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, Joe.
Take care, Jay.
Everybody.
You got it. Bye. Rock forever, brother. Well, that's Jay. What a great guy. Now, this is interesting. This channel is probably going to do really well. I got a funny feeling. So I think he's connected. So that's Jay from Los Angeles, California. And I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Number 9. Okay. Jay. And this is Izzy Dakota Jones with Are You Doing Podcasts. Talk to you soon. Bye.